of people out there. This is one encampment that I befriended a gentleman. That's Neil Andrews and Deborah. Part of our advocacy. Teaching people about the fact that there is no emergency shelter in Ventura allows us to continue day after day, week after week, year after year, asking for bold leadership. Not your face of homelessness, though. This is Tony Bayek. He actually lives up in the hills in Ojai. And you don't see people. We talk about this on Hidden Ventura. Michelle and her son, this is some years ago, but that's the last thing they want you to know is that they're homeless. The kids are using the restrooms at the gas station on the way to school to clean up, brush their teeth, wash their face. They don't want you to know that they're experiencing homelessness. This is your typical mattress out along the riverbed. This gentleman is a veteran. Not a very nice way to treat our veteran, is it? This gentleman was being displaced. Again, a typical encampment. Hard to see. This is River Haven. For those of you that have been out there, we'll see this next weekend. It's a dome community. More of the river bottom. And this is a good statistic. 21,000 to 23,000 Ventura residents are at risk every single day. And 12 to 20% are veterans. Just a random shoes. I photograph weird things. This is two-member Reverend Jan from the Unitarian Universalist, and then to the far left was Captain Bill Finley of the Salvation Army. This was the first year I did the homeless memorial service. So probably, I guess by last year it had pretty much doubled in the number of people who attended, which was beautiful. There's music, there's a real diversity of clergy, and a lot of youth participates in that. That usually surprises people, the fact that, homeless don't just come here because the weather's so great. People are homeless because this has been their home. Most of them are educated through high school and some college education, and they have had jobs. Donnie's recently a success story. He moved last week from River Haven, he and his wife, to New Mexico. Right now, the only ones in Ventura who can really seek out an emergency shelter are those who have mental illness, which is kind of weird. And the pets, don't forget about the pets. Lots of companion animals out there. And I've found, and a lot of people would agree, in the social service providers, that A person experiencing homelessness will refuse shelter if that means they have to abandon their animals. And, it's like that's a layer that is almost forgotten. This is amazing. 1 out of every 6 residents in Ventura is one incident away from homelessness. And those incidents are typically a medical, something of a medical catastrophe, if you will. Given the healthcare system, that's not hard to fathom. And children are the biggie. And lift up your voice, advocacy. And I can I've gone back to about 1998, for those of you that have been around for a while. Mayor DiGiulio, I found a quote in the LA Times. Mayor DiGiulio was quoted as saying something, and we're aligned to begin the process of an emergency shelter in Ventura. That was 1998. I mean, I'm sure I could go back further than that, but my point is, year after year after year. So if there was one thing I was going to leave a group with in terms of an action opportunity, there's lots of social service agencies, there's lots of people that are hungry, that need clothing or have some sort of need, but if there was one thing, educate yourselves about the fact that Ventura has no emergency shelter. Zero. There is no place for you to go if you're suddenly evicted from your apartment, whatever, let alone a place for your pet or pets. So if there was one thing, if we could, as a collective, get together, like I know this social action group and the Unitarian social action group have been talking and meeting and collaboratively doing things, moving in the direction of creating an emergency shelter is so needed. It's such an understatement, but that's the one thing. Questions?
When you say emergency shelter, I got the impression, I'm pretty sure talking about for a health issue. We're talking here about a central location where you can get your access to any of these different agencies or people who will help. That's what it is.
That's that would be an ideal situation. And there are movements, and you might have heard Rob Orth refer to it as the gateway. There are movements going in that direction. And that's ideal. In other words, if I'm experiencing homelessness and I'm willing to accept your services, if you get me through the front door to know that I can have my basic needs taken care of and that I have case management opportunities, is ideal. Because
all in one location.
All in one location. That's years away. No matter what. That's years away. So if you close your eyes and think of one vacant building that you drive by, that you whatever. It's like we can all probably think of the one or something. Okay, is it possible that could become a shelter on any given night for a couple hundred people who really need it? Just to roll out their little bed sack, lay down, sleep, get up, leave. Maybe shower, but just to have a roof over their heads. That's, as a collective, we could do that.
Beth, it was probably somewhere between 1998 and 2000. I was asked to sit on a panel that we met.
Wow, that was too loud. We met a few times with the gentleman who took over. Who was the gentleman before Rob? I lost Rick Pearson and I, and my director, and 5 or 6 other people would meet periodically to